Hi there, and welcome back to the HQ. Today, we're going to be reacting to how one man ruined a $400,000 Mountain Dew game jam by manykudos. God, that's a mouthful. In the thumbnail, I see a lot of things. I saw a Markiplier, I saw a jontron, and I saw an evil-looking bald man, all with a big, bright Mountain Dew backdrop. And the title itself just sounds wild already, so let's check this out and see what we have in store.
On the 27th of March 2014, after day one of a 4-day shoot, every single contestant of the Mountain Dew Game Jam walked off set, refusing to participate any longer.
Now, I know what game jams are. I should preface I know what a game jam is, because I like to follow stuff like that. But I haven't followed this one, because it probably seems like it's before my time, because, I mean, look at that Markiplier haircut, dog. But, basically, I don't know if he's going to explain it. I'm just going to lay it out quick now. A game jam is basically when a game dev or a group of game developers has a set amount of time, like under duress or under some kind of circumstance, to create a video game. And it's whether it's a contest or for fun or something like that. Basically have a very limited time to make a video game from scratch. And they're really cool concepts come out of game jams. Like I think like VVV came out of a game jam. But like we'll see what the Mountain Dew game jam is, because this already sounds like a cluster. Like, with that much money invested into something like this already sounds like a cluster.
What should have been a celebration of indie gaming ended up being an undignified waste of time with a $400,000 price tag, toppled by a mixture of greed, corporate meddling,
Mountain Dew and
the Hollywood
Doritos.
Scumbag of the century. This is the story of the Mountain Dew Game Jam.
Please enlighten me.
Now, some of you out there might be wondering, what the
Oh?
Ahoy there, sailor! You look like you're in the market for a new game to play.
I'm always looking for games.
Who are you? Name's Frank Tucker. At your service, m'lady.
Frank
Your accent
Tucker.
is, boy, you best listen to me about World of Tanks now, you hear?
World
World
of
of Tanks
Tanks.
is full of more
Okay.
tanks than you could shank a tank at. Tank destroyers, artillery,
There's
light,
lots
medium,
of tanks,
and heavy
lots of
tanks.
boom boom.
How you play is up to you. As long as it involves tanks, with over 600
What
tanks.
if I
there's
want
certain
it to be not a
tank-themed
tank? I
playstyle
guess I'm
for you.
just screwed,
Rush in,
huh?
tanks blazing, ambush your opponent with sneaky tank ticks, or hang back and
Tank
tank them out
ticks.
from afar. Those last two didn't
Okay.
even make sense. Roll out across open fields.
Yeah,
climb
I have
steep
questions.
hills, sneak through forests, tear across
Tanks-
deserts, and show my landlord how weak
You're
their
gonna take your
eviction
tank off a
notices
jump?
compared to the raw power of tank. Live out a gripping
He's
story.
just
of a tank
scrolling, dog.
coming to
He's a
terms with
scrolling.
blowing up another tank in over 40 battle arenas. Not only that, but World of Azalea Banks is free to win, meaning skill wins battles, not money. I'm kind of trying to record a vid. Jump in, experience the same thrill as 100 million players, and interact with a global community of gamers who share your
Frank
passion.
Tucker over
as long as your
here.
passion is tanks! The authentic models and historically accurate vehicle characteristics of World of Tanks really make you feel like a tank. Earn experience, modify and upgrade
God,
your
look at
tank,
that thing.
create a steel beast ready for any challenge. Although no steel beast will ever quite be ready for the challenge of parenthood. Click the link in the description below.
That
and
is
use
a-
code TankManIA
That is, yeah. I
for
don't
a
think
free
anybody's
Excelsior
just
tank,
ready
free
for that
rental
right
tanks,
away.
7
Jesus.
days premium
Okay.
access and 250,000 credits. The currency famously used by tanks. These benefits
Yeah,
are only
tank-
available to
tank
new
credits.
players. Thanks again to World of Tanks for sponsoring this video. Oh, my Valor!
His valor, it fell.
Some of you
What
out there
does
might
be
be
game
wondering
jam?
what the hot heck a game jam is. And no,
Okay,
it's not
yeah,
a
he is going to
delicious
explain
spread
it
you put
then,
on
okay.
your toast before taking a megabyte. Game jams are community-run events that task game devs from all skill levels and walks of life to create one of them video games from scratch in a limited amount of time, usually only a couple of days. Game jams are the purest form of indie development. The distilled essence of the blood, sweat, smegma, and boundless creativity that goes into game development.
What was that?
A number
What was
of
that
wildly
third one?
successful games have been born from the frantic insanity of a game jam, including Celeste, Surgeon Simulator, and Super Hot. Super Hot. There is much a way to explore new ideas.
Wow, I didn't know those games were game jam games.
Indie dev community. So when a number
Celeste
of indie
won a
devs
few
and
Game of the
gaming
Year awards,
YouTubers
didn't
were
it?
approached with an opportunity to share their passion
I didn't
with the
know that.
world, they were over the moon. Little did they know.
I might be wrong
what was
about
meant to be an
VVVVVV
insight
though.
into
I'm
a
pretty sure that was
world
like a
of wholesome
Newgrounds game
camaraderie would
or a
instead
Flash
reveal
game
the
that
depths
eventually
that
became
some people
an
are
actual
willing
game.
to sing for entertainment.
Not that Flash games aren't actual games. We saw the
The idea
video
of
on
a
that.
Game Jam documentary show was first cooked up by Game Jolt founder David Dickmean and Indie Static's Josh Mattingly, before being picked up by Polaris and passed to veteran producers Aaron Umatani and Jason Serrato. The pitch was simple.
Yeah.
Green Label Game Jam seeks to provide viewers with insight into the technical and artistic process of developing a game in the format of a reality competition show. We seek to do for indie games what Top Chef did for cooking. It was a sound
there's your problem right there.
Not yet explored
You went from doing a documentary series
to Maker Studios that specialize
doing
in
a
creating
fucking
content
reality show.
primarily for the YouTube
There's your
gaming
problem
market,
right there.
or virgins, and they had the recipe for what could be somewhere between a cult classic and a certified hood classic. It should also be noted that Polaris and Maker Studios were in the middle of a $500 million acquisition from Disney during the development of Game Jam. And its success
Disney will
could have
immediately
done well
come in
to
and
impress
screw
their new
the whole
owners.
thing up.
Each team would consist of one YouTuber dubbed The Gamer and 3
The
indie game
Gamer?
developers
I'm a
dubbed
gamer.
The Jammers, which sounds like a slur in the making. The YouTubers consisted of Jontron, Markiplier, Captain Sparkles, and Sam Strippin. And the Jammers
That is a
include
lineup.
a number of well-known indie game developers, including Adriel Wallach, Zoe Quinn, Davey Reedon, Tom Jackson, and Robin Arnott. The games themselves would be judged by
a nice
Angry
little
Joe
lineup.
Vargas, Nidhogg creator Mark Essen, and
They
Kelly
get Angry
Santiago,
Joe.
co-founder of That Game Company, the team behind That Game Journey. Despite the eventual reality,
fairly decent
the
lineup of
producers
judges.
had pure intentions for the show, driven by a genuine passion for gaming. Aaron was quoted saying,
I hope so.
"On the
I mean,
start
it's a
of
gaming
day
show.
one,
It'd be like picking up something like, I don't know, a show about Halo and not having any passion for the source material and just writing your own thing using the Halo IP, purposefully ignoring all of the source material that comes with it and telling fans to get stuffed. You know, just a little thought.
Perhaps nervously, he'll feel like it was a success if people walk away feeling like they had a good time and made something cool. According to
It's always
Akira
a nice
Thompson,
time,
who
just
was hired
making
as a
cool stuff.
consultant, and Dodger, one of the hosts, the problems began the same way they always do: money. However, for once, the
that'll
problem
do it.
wasn't a lack of Alexander Hamiltons, but an excess. In an effort to ramp up production value, spend less money themselves, and satisfy that week's Coke binge, Polaris signed sponsorship deals for
You always gotta have
exorbitant
the weekly
amounts
Coke
that,
binge.
in turn, made them a slave to the whims of the brands. The production cost anywhere between $400,000 and $450,000.
This is why you shouldn't do major brand deals.
From their sponsors. Or perhaps I should say sponsor. Namely PepsiCo, owners and squirters.
Yeah,
of
I was about to
Mountain
say, I'm
Dew.
starting to get
After
an
such
idea
a
of
hefty
why it's called the
investment,
Mountain Dew Game
PepsiCo
Jam.
wanted to ensure that their money wouldn't go
They
to
got their
waste
big,
and did what
fugly
all
Halo
soulless
4
corporate
Master Chief
entities
back
do.
there.
Haphazardly force changes that benefit nobody except the people in charge, while ultimately sucking the life out of whatever was special in the first place. While the people running the
As
show
what usually
might have had
happens
pure
with
intentions,
billion-dollar
their production
sponsors.
was slowly but
They make it
surely
all about
warped
shilling
by
their
the powers
thing and
that
not
be.
about the show
Small
that they're
changes
paying
and
for.
compromises that individually would have been harmless,
Oh,
such
man.
as the Mountain Dew queef cannon, eventually piled up until the original idea was completely obscured by goo and slurry. Most importantly, these resulted in a direct pivot away from a show about the reality of game development to, well, a reality show that might show game development at some point, if you behave yourself. Idiotic challenges,
Didn't PlayStation do its own like game show as well? I remember that. Like, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a reality show where they just had to do a bunch of challenges and shit, and it had nothing to do with games. And it was like a bunch of like I can't remember if it was a bunch of online personalities or if it was like a one or two because I know Ego Raptor, Aaron Hansen was in it, but like it just had like a bunch of physical challenges that Lord knows a gamer would not be doing. And the only thing I know about the show is that its viewership dived off a cliff because they got like they orchestrated having Ego Raptor kicked off the show early by like orchestrating fake bullshit. Like in like one of the challenges, he was supposedly not helping enough, but when in, like behind the scenes, like he was like running back and forth trying to coach people on the challenge, so like they know what they're doing, and he's not having to carry the whole weight of the team. Yeah, I don't like reality shows. They're absolute fake bullshit. They suck.
Artificial dramas and storylines invented in the editing suite were all added to spice
That's
things up.
yeah, that's how
As
it
though
happens.
teams of professional game developers creating an entire video game in only 4 days with minimal sleep wouldn't have been interesting enough.
That would have been very interesting to watch. Instead,
like dating a
we're
girl
gonna get
in her
slop,
20s
aren't we?
who's still into Disney, the contestants began to see red flags as soon as they got their contracts. These included such fantastic clauses as the devs were not allowed to appear on any other form of digital media during the broadcasting of Game Jam and for 2 weeks afterwards. Polaris didn't want anything.
So you asked a bunch of YouTubers to not do YouTube stuff on their YouTube channels, which could be used to promote your Game Jam show. Is that what you're saying? God, dude, this you can't make this shit up, dude.
That could compete for attention. In case the indie devs appeared on another Game Jam reality show with a massive budget that was broadcast on major YouTube networks that came out at the same time. In reality, it meant that they weren't allowed to make any public appearances online, meaning they couldn't post update videos, stream, or do anything to help promote their games. You know, like what an indie game dev would do. Participants were obligated to travel to the film set and any promotional activities required of them. Thankfully, that $400,000 budget did include some travel expenses, as long as you live more than 200 miles from their studio in LA. People in California really can't catch a break, huh? Subjects were required to take part in branded activities, which was left vague enough that it could be anything from giving a thumbs up 3 meters away from a can of Mountain Dew to getting the Mountain Dew logo carved in your forehead in Glorious Bastard style. And finally, most egregiously,
well, at least they
Game
didn't
Jam
force
reserved the
people to
right
drink
to
it.
completely
I mean,
misrepresent
like, you gotta
any
feel
of the
bad for like
contestants.
diabetics being forced to drink
reality
it.
shows and allows production companies to fabricate storylines, turn people into villains, and otherwise use editing tricks and movie magic to just plain make shit up. Of course, the problem was that the contestants of Game Jam didn't think they were making a reality show. They thought they were making a show about the reality of making a game. Not only that, but almost all indie studios are small teams, often solo, with the devs acting as the face of the company. Having someone's words
that's the
and
problem
actions
right there.
twisted into drama for the sake of it.
Yeah, like, why are you like trying to like twist in like some drama bullshit into this thing with a bunch of indie game developers who are basically there representing their team? It's like you're basically asking for trouble because like that like creating fake bullshit to put out for this team like in this little show, asking devs like to consent to that, you're basically asking them to kill their company, because if people see them act like a dickhead on this show, then why is anybody going to want to buy their game and support them?
Entertainment could potentially ruin someone's reputation and by extension their projects and team. In addition to being restrictive, ominous,
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Otherwise annoying, this contract was the first indication that the people in charge of Game Jam or rather the delicious lemon lime beverage actually in charge, were clearly clueless about indie development and game jams in general. After realizing
Yeah,
that the
it
contract
definitely
was
seems that
Truly
way.
more sus than a character from Among Us.
they managed to negotiate some of the worst parts of the contract, such as the misrepresentation clause, as well as a much more reasonable version of the online appearances section. While they were able
Well,
to
that's
work out a
good.
better deal, many of the jammers were left with the sour taste of Mountain Dew code red in their mouth. But we're still
I can't
ultimately
drink
excited to
Mountain
start
Dew. That
filming
shit's
and
too
begin
sugary
sharing
for
their
me.
immense passion
Like, I'll
with the
drink
world.
like off-brand cola, but I can't do
Day
like
one
Mountain
rolls
Dew. It's
around,
too
and the
sugary.
developers immediately realized
I'm trying to get
that
gamer
sour
subs
taste
though.
was
I'm trying to
about
get in on
reach
that.
hydrochloric levels.
Gamer subs,
Our
hit me
heroes
up. Let me
enter
get
the
a
Maker
let me get a
Studio
gamer
set in
subs
Culver
code,
City,
please.
and we're greeted
I know
with
I'm
a
tiny
grand,
and have less than
gaudy
50
game show
followers,
set
but
with all
please
the trimmings,
let me
judge
be
panels,
your
stages,
sponsor,
and
Rat. I'll
themed
get your
team
logo
workspaces,
tattooed on my
all
forehead or
slathered in
something.
Mountain Dew signage so that it would
Not
be
really.
theoretically
I'm not that
impossible to get a
desperate.
shot that didn't have at least one logo in frame
please.
at any one time. Production
Gamer
staff
subs?
were frantically running around like ants working for a coked up queen, and one guy was probably on a Segway because that seems like something one of those Hollywood douchebags would do. Whatever this was, it was a spit in the face of the ramshackle, low budget earnestness that was so indicative of indie game development. Still, the gamers, jammers, and racial slur spammers pressed on regardless and were put into their teams and began to do the do or jam the game. Whatever
Gotta
they would do.
jam that
That seems
do
like a good time to bring
somewhere.
up just what
Gotta jam it somewhere.
$400,000 of sponsorship money gets you. In addition to Mountain Dew tramp stamps placed
like,
on every
why-
flat surface, every prize was Mountain Dew themed because what is life if not a perpetual quest for more Mountain Dew swag?
Okay, for real. Why would you want a bunch of Mountain Dew themed prizes for video game development? Like, I'd be like, the grant, like, if you're getting a prize for this, it should be like an investment into your game development studio or something to be able to take your project or start a new project and turn it into like a full-fledged game. Like, but a bunch of Mountain Dew swag is basically what you get for however many days of work on a game. That's like, that just sounds like you're getting chipped.
These prizes
Dog.
were incredibly lackluster, including diabetes water lawn chairs, a Mountain Dew
Lawn
Dew
chairs?
pack, which remains a mystery to this day, and of course the
A Dew
grand
pack?
prize,
What?
a year's
What?
supply of piss fizz, access to ID at Xbox, something almost everybody already had or could easily acquire, and a trip to
Okay.
the Mountain Dew Action Ranch. According to one of the devs of the game, Aegis Defense,
So basically, the top prize you get is some swag and a trip to like something that most game devs already have in Xbox ID, and a trip to Mountain Dew summer camp. Dude, that's messed up, dog. A whole game jam just to go back to summer camp. Dude. Oh,
who are
god damn it.
contestants on the show.
Oh,
we were standing
that
in this
is
room under
horse
hot
shit,
lights,
dude.
and the host, who are all YouTubers, goes, and the grand prize will be a trip to the Mountain Dew Action Ranch. And nobody said anything. No one gave a shit about the Mountain Dew Action Ranch. They made us do like 4 more takes.
I
and
don't
we're finally
envy
like,
the hosts having to announce
we'll try
that.
tomorrow. An attempt was made to ban all drinks except Mountain Dew on set, allegedly including
Hello,
water
young
bottles, even
Markiplier.
with labels removed. There was also talk of having to pour water into an empty can of Mountain Dew if drinking something that didn't give you headaches and diabetes meant so much to you. Not only were they expected
God,
to get
dude.
excited about the threateningly vague Action Ranch, but the contestants were repeatedly made to hold up cans of Dew
my
to
goodness.
the camera in the same way that prisoners of war are forced to hold up signs saying they're okay. One group was supposedly
Gotta hold that
screamed
can
at
up,
for
just
not holding
gotta
up the bottles properly,
Hold it up to the
while
brand.
everybody
That was
was
me
instructed
holding my
on how to
actual can up.
properly
You couldn't
smile
see it because I
while
don't have
brandishing a
proper.
product they
I don't
were
have hand
essentially
tracking.
being force-fed. Now,
Yet.
you might think that a show named Game Jam about a game jam starring contestants who are game developers might actually involve game development at some.
Yeah. When's the game development gonna actually start? When's the game development actually gonna start? Because so far, all I've been hearing about is just Mountain Dew and nothing about actual game development. Are we gonna get on the game development anytime soon?
Point, while you would technically be right, it's much the same as saying that my channel technically has good content on it. Crew members supposedly leaked plans to the
Well, I hope so.
that showed
I'm
that
enjoying
they would
this so
only be
far.
spending a fraction of the time actually working on their games, with the majority of the time being spent doing reality show challenges. These challenges were integrated about as well as a mouse into a McChicken and were only tangentially related to the task at hand. From what I've been able to dig up, these included some weird arts and crafts project, an obstacle course with road cones, the YouTuber having to record a Let's Play video of one of the games that the devs on their team had released,
God.
and my personal favorite, having to work without power for 30 minutes. On a fucking video game.
How the fuck did they expect them to do that? How? Am I just gonna rub some sticks and stones together and develop a video game? I'm just sitting here flabbergasted, dog.
The devs, cheeks bruising from excessive smiling during Mountain Dew promotional material, were now being yanked away from the game that, to their understanding, was the entire reason they were there. I can't quite
I'd hope so.
why they
This is
decided
supposed to be a
take the
game
entire
jam.
team away when
This is supposed to
each
be
of
a
them
game
had
jam.
YouTubers who likely would have had a better on-camera presence, as well as little to contribute to the actual game beyond ideas. But hey, I haven't wasted a $400,000 production budget before, so
God, imagine pissing away $400,000. Enter Maddie. Who is Maddie?
To do the due and partake
is
in
that
asinine
Mr. Bald
challenges
Goatee
was
evil guy?
The developers were still
That I see
willing
in the
to
thumbnail?
push past it and take it as a necessary evil of television if it meant they still got to show the world what indie development is like. What they weren't willing to do.
Indie development is fun.
Since they
Speaking of indie development, one thing I got to look into and might stream Saturday morning after I get off work from my 3-day, 12-hour shift stretch. I think I'll have to double check, but I think the Sonic Amateur Games Expo started, so there might be some fan games available for me to try out. So I might jump on some of that and play some of those on Saturday and see what that is all about. That'd be fun.
negotiated their contract to no longer allow misrepresentation, the production company instead decided to opt for representation of you in your worst state after being
Oh, that's not good
for the camera. This brings us to the villain of our story, Maddie Leshan. Maddie Leshan was the CEO of Protagonist, a creative agency
that already sounds like a
specialized in
scumbag
creating
company.
engaging ad interactions for big brands and ruining major productions. Matty was hired as a Pepsi consultant, a job title less
Pepsi
dignified
consultant.
than human trafficker, and was there to ensure that the considerable
I think I'd
money
rather
that
be
Pepsi had
involved
put
in
into the
human
whole
trafficking
affair would
than being
guarantee
a
return.
Pepsi
Matty was
consultant.
the personification of all of the corporate meddling mentioned thus far. A Hollywood
Personification.
scumbag who managed to weasel his way into being a director of sorts by simply being the loudest, shiniest, and most intimidating guy on set. He was the one pressing for contestants to drink water out of empty Mountain Dew cans, but his influence spread
This guy
much
sounds like a
further
dick.
in the simple pressing of piss water. In an effort to make the show more
How so?
watchable, Jeff Bezos without the pesos tried his best to cook up drama and stir the pot wherever he could. Whether this was intentional or otherwise, one of the teams had the pairing of jontron and Zoe Quinn. While this was pre-Gamergate, the two still had incredibly conflicting personalities and opinions. Exactly.
Yeah,
the sort
that
of thing
definitely. That
leeches
sounds like
Maddie
it'd be
could drum on for
rather
some
inflaming.
easy drama. Oh, and if you don't know what Gamergate is,
That
you're not
tracks.
missing much. Say
That's
what you
that
will about
definitely
John or
tracks.
Zoe, because I know you're going to either way. But when they inevitably
Yeah,
butted heads,
there's
they
opinions
acted
out there.
like
I'm not gonna
professionals
voice mine,
and
though.
took their discussion outside to smooth things over and not let it affect the rest of their team. Maddie
Yeah,
had other
they acted like
ideas.
professionals.
Like vultures swooping in on the weakest, frailest storyline they could. Cameras came at them from all angles, hoping to catch an explosive blowout that could be twisted into something more in the editing room. When they refused to give him what he wanted,
Absolute
they were both
dickheadedry.
individually cornered later in the day, prompted to try and talk shit about the other. Again, both refused. The fact that any argument, friendly or otherwise,
I don't know why
could be
anybody would
caught on
hire a
film
company
and
like
then
this
used
just to
against
like
them in
cause
post
friction on
became
set.
a real fear for everyone involved.
Like,
Realised that the
genuinely.
people he was dealing
Why
with
would
were
anybody do
competent
this?
Professionals who didn't want to ruin their reputation, and not the sort of clout-thirsty cum demons that make up your average reality show. Maddie decided to
I've
rank
not
his
verified
efforts
if the
up.
woman
Out
in
of
this
all of the
shot is
contestants,
actually a
only
cum
2
demon
were
or not.
women, meaning only 2 of the 4 teams had any female representation. Both of the all-male teams were approached by Maddie and asked, on camera, 2 of the other teams have women on them. Do you think they're at a disadvantage? The teams were taken aback. Markiplier replied with,
Hey, Peter, the teams actually had a huge advantage by having more viewpoints, though everyone was strong regardless because of their skill.
According
Based
to Jared's
Markiplier.
article on the Jam,
Based
he was
Markiplier.
swiftly cut off by Maddie, who then added, "Stop filming. We're not getting a story here." Leaving
Maddie's a
the teams
dickhole.
dumbfounded,
I hope he doesn't have a
decided
job
to power
anymore.
up to his final form. Matty approached Adriel Wallach, the only other girl on the contest besides Zoe, and asked her, "Do you think you're at an advantage because you have a pretty girl on your team?" After
Really?
initially declining to respond, Maddie
Fucking
kept prodding
dickhead,
until,
dude.
much to Adriel's chagrin, he managed to get a rise out of her. He got me to, with an embarrassed and flushed red face, launch into a statement about how his question is indicative of everything that is wrong in our industry in terms of sexism. That no, we weren't at an advantage because we had a woman on our team. We were at an
This
advantage
guy's a
because I'm a
dickhole,
damn
man.
fine
Like,
programmer and game
just
developer.
going
we were
up,
at an advantage because my skills
asking
allowed us to be
inflammatory
at an
questions and
advantage,
shit.
not my pretty
Like,
face.
I get
Maddie
that's his
supposedly
job, but
pulled
Jesus.
Adriel aside afterwards, giving her a half-hearted apology and stating that he marched with the woman in the 70s with flowers in his hair. But wait a second. Maddie attempted to corner Zoe
I was
for
just
gossip
about to
one
point that
last
out.
time,
Motherfucker,
prompting
you don't
him
have
to
any
tell him to
hair.
go
You a
fuck himself
bald
and
ass
walking
bitch.
off set.
You
This was
bald
supposedly the
bitch.
tipping point
You ain't
when
got
the
no hair.
contestants realized that their individual experiences weren't uncomfortable one-off blunders, but a series of unfortunate
Yeah.
events. In a show
It's just
of
this dickhead
solidarity,
skulking
and
around,
probably as a way to
causing
get off the ship
problems for
that had begun to
everybody.
sink before it even set sail, the contestants all walked one by one. Word of the extent
Good.
of Maddie's malicious meddling made its way to the production staff, and he was
This production
promptly
deserved to
booted.
crumble
Still,
from
this
how
did
much of a
little to entice the
mismanaged mess it
contestants
was.
back, as the problem evolved from "what is this guy doing?" to "why would you hire someone like that?" Promises and compromises.
Exactly. Why
were
would
wheeled
you?
out in a desperate
Why
attempt
would
to
you
retain
hire
the
someone like
developers
that?
and YouTubers, with assurances
That
that
is
the
just
show
a
about
disaster
game
waiting to
development
happen.
would start to focus on game development, with the budget and scale of this project significantly higher than normal. Production staff were a mess. People were in tears, terrified this would cost them their job. Even the president of Maker made an appearance in an attempt to smooth things over, but to no avail. Gamers had finally risen up, and the devil shivered as a dozen nice guys and girls lost their patience. Game Jam had failed spectacularly, brought down by the personified antithesis of everything the indie development community
Man,
stood
dude.
for. Some
Like,
of the
imagine,
games
like,
awkwardly showed up for day
dropping
two,
the ball
only to be
and
met
not
with
reading the
subcontracted
room
second
at
production
all.
team, hoping to wring out whatever drops of drama they could so that they would still get paid. Polaris went under heavy restructuring after the failure of Game Jam. The fears of the crowd
Not surprising
production
in the
staff
slightest.
made reality.
I don't know how the
And
hell
yet,
they fumbled a
after a tiring
$400,000
14-hour
Game Jam
day
show
of
like
filming
this.
in oppressive, invasive conditions, perhaps
I don't know
inspired,
how they
the
fumbled this
contestants
so
came together
badly.
to remind themselves why they were there in the first place.
They could have just made it a
Unprompted,
really
group of them
cool,
began playing
really
video games
tight,
together,
like,
drinking
game
beers and
development
hanging
show.
out in the now worthless husk of a
Instead, they tried to
studio
make
they
it a
had spent the last
freaking-
14 hours inhabiting.
They tried to make it a
John,
drama
and Tom got
a
drunk and had
drama
a sleepover
llama
at
show.
John's parents' house. Plans for a new Game Jam show, an actual Game Jam, were thrown around by contestants. Jontron, along with fellow teammate Tom Jackson, went on and made this a reality 5 years later. Adriel hosts
Very
a
cool.
yearly Game Jam that takes place entirely on a moving train called Train Jam. Despite Maddie's best efforts,
That's cool.
the people's
That's
passion
cool.
for gaming only burned brighter.
A
Seemingly
game jam
unable to
on
be
a
quelled
train.
by the refreshing
jam.
lemon lime flavor of an ice cold Mountain Dew.
I don't like Mountain Dew.
If you-
I don't like Mountain Dew. I'll just put that out there. I don't like Mountain Dew. So yeah, that was a mess. I don't know how the hell you fumble a $400,000 show like that and drop the ball with every sponsor, but I guess hiring a dickhead like Maddie is definitely the way to go for that. Oh my goodness. Tell me what you think about the Mountain Dew Game Jam, about Maddie, about game jams, about gaming in general, down in the comments below. Hit the like video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you back at the HQ. Bye-bye.